today's show, you'll hear about healthcare and its impact on startups. This is Investor Perspectives. I'm the host of Investor Connect, Hall T. Martin, where we connect startups and investors for funding. COVID-19 has changed the landscape for startups, giving us a new normal. During the pandemic, it became clear the need for changes in our healthcare system. We have joining us Thomas Hawes of Blue Venture Fund, an investor in the healthcare space. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today we're here with Thomas Hawes of Sandbox Industry. Thomas, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Hall.
Great. You've been on the show before, but for those first-time listeners, can you tell them more about your background? What got you into early-stage company investing?
Sure. So I certainly didn't start life thinking that I was going to end up as a venture capitalist focused on the healthcare industry, but found my way to where I am through a series of serendipitous steps along the way. So started life thinking that I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, and then from there realized that wasn't the path for me. So thought, okay, what next? What I did like about orthopedics is that you could actually lay your hands on a patient and fix a problem generally, and they generally got better. And so I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I could help fix the healthcare system in some way? But unlike most entrepreneurs, I was not brave enough or smart enough to actually go come up with an idea. So I thought, well, maybe I'll go off to business school and learn some more and see if I could come up with something. But again, I'm not as smart as all the entrepreneurs that we support. So I decided, wouldn't it be great if I could help support these brave and smart people? And I felt like if I could do that, then in some way I was helping fix the healthcare industry. So found my way to Sandbox Industries about 12 years ago now. And there I've had the privilege to help be part of the Blue Venture Fund team, where we help manage the Blue Cross Blue Shield Venture funds, now on the fourth fund, actually. So,
oh, wow. Fourth funds. Sound like you're doing very well with it then.
So far, so good. I've really enjoyed it. And it's a great partnership and collaboration with now over 30 of the Blue plans and also the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. So it's been a great experience being part of that whole team.
Great. So what excites you right now?
Now even before COVID, there were a lot of opportunities in the healthcare sector because there's plenty of opportunity to improve access and to improve patient and physician experience and get more for our healthcare dollar while driving towards better clinical outcomes and quality outcomes. And what the whole pandemic experience has done is accelerated some of the good innovations that needed to happen, and the adoption of good innovations in areas like telemedicine and helping to personalize more care and pushing more care outside the four walls of hospitals and physician offices, and even driving more care to the home. So it's kind of this there's a mix of improvement in the access via telemedicine plus care in the home. And we can talk about subsectors in both of those, but I'm really excited about those two areas.
Well, great. So what's your advice for people investing in the healthcare sector these days, given the COVID impact on the industry? Sure.
Well, I would give everybody a word to be cautious. While there are opportunities in the COVID era, we're not sure how long that will be and what will last. I think that the caution is that some of the things that have been accelerated because of the pandemic may be short-lived. Things may revert back to the mean in some cases, whereas in others, I think there'll be more durable and lasting change. Again, hopefully in the areas of like telebehavioral health specifically, and then again, pushing more care to the home, especially for those most vulnerable populations. So I would encourage people to ask the question, is this a durable change? Is this likely a lasting change? Not just a temporary, something that may just be temporary.
I see. And so on the other side of that table, what's your advice for people running startups in the healthcare sector? If you're starting a startup today, what would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I would advise them to try to find and partner with an incumbent earlier rather than later. I think so. In healthcare, while I love one of my former business school professors who espoused the idea of disruption in every industry, I think the healthcare industry, especially in the US, is very resistant to the typical disruptive forces that can be seen in the innovator's dilemma because of the tough regulatory environment and because of just general inertia. So hard to change and just totally disrupt the full healthcare industry. And so what I've seen startups do that have been really successful, they figured out how to partner with, and again, depends on what they offer, but partner with a provider system or a payer or big pharma company or whomever it may be, and to help them do some incremental change along the way while if they do have a disruptive innovation, while that hopefully gives them more time via some cash flow to let that disruptive innovation or service find root and then be able to, in the long term, supplant maybe an existing process or system. But it's really hard to blow up the healthcare system. So you got to figure out how to drive incremental change while really trying to change and improve how we do things at a systemic level.
Great. Well, let's talk about how COVID is impacting the healthcare system. What sectors are you seeing that are positively impacted, and what do you think are going to be negatively impacted from it?
Sure. Well, certainly, I think any sector that has been thinking about or enables the shift to value-based care or the shift to payment models where providers get paid for taking on risk and trying to drive towards more quality outcomes should be benefited by COVID versus on the other side of that, sectors where the revenue models are largely fee for service. You get paid for doing things instead of getting paid for taking on risk and driving towards good outcomes. Those are hurting, clearly because so many patients and our potential patients haven't been able to go into doctors' offices or hospitals to have visits or have things done. And so you see anything related to that, whether it's revenue cycle management, payment collections, et cetera, payment integrity, tied to that volume stream of fee for service, getting stuff done, those have been hurting. But those that have been tied to, okay, you're taking on risk for a population or you're responsible for driving towards comprehensive care and good outcomes, here's some money, do that. Those companies have been better positioned. And inclusive in that would be diagnostic companies or other companies that help facilitate better patient-doctor communication or patient-payer communication. Again, because having better data and a better feel for what's going on with the patient population helps everybody get the better clinical outcomes we all want.
Great. Do you think we'll see regulatory change now that we've had a pandemic? There are a lot of tools for telemedicine and others that are hindered by regulatory. Do you see regulatory changing at this point based on what we just went through?
I do. And this is one, there have been some short-term changes and policy changes where some of the payers have decided to open up their reimbursement for telemedicine services in a more comprehensive way. And I think those should be durable and those should last because I think we're getting to the point where we understand enough of what services can be delivered telephonically or even through video conferencing and still and be equivalent to or non-inferior to the typical in-office experience. So I think, so telebehavioral health, again, that's the easiest one. And then primary care, big portion of what happens in a primary care doc's office can be done through telemedicine and on and on. So I think those payments and that payment stream should stay in place, which enables a bunch of interesting opportunities as well. And then also the idea that not only can care be delivered in the home, but also new diagnostics, having labs done in the home, and we've seen services, even our local Austin-based company, Everlywell, that's startups taken off because they offer access to individuals that have tests done in their home, and they have a growing menu of tests that are available and can be delivered right to your front door. So I think that consumer preference of having care delivered to them when convenient and in their home, well, I think that will last as well, that sentiment.
And what new applications do you think these tools will give us? Telemedicine, healthcare to the home. What new things will come up that you think we'll see in the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, I think with those trends, as they continue to accelerate, there'll be a desire to expand the menu of options that can be delivered in the home. So with that, technologies that can do better, faster, cheaper basic lab tests, plus even some of the more complicated tests, like some of the more esoteric things that we look at. So I think, better blood tests, the whole, the tricorder competition came out where certain companies were competing to try to develop that device that could do so many different things, take vital signs consistently, do temperature reading, and et cetera. So I anticipate seeing far more innovation in the medical device space and in the infrastructure as well, investment in the infrastructure to be able to enable the delivery of prescriptions and devices and anything else you would need to, again, provide comprehensive care outside the four walls of a hospital.
And so how is it impacting your investment thesis? Are you changing anything about what you look for based on the COVID pandemic? I know some groups are looking for COVID-proof businesses, but beyond that, what would you say is the impact on what you look for going forward?
It's a good question. Hasn't shifted our thinking too much. If anything, it's just accelerated the adoption of the ideas and technologies that we've been thinking about, and then some of the technologies and services that we've already invested in and then look to invest in going forward. So, for example, like we invested in a telebehavioral health company 6 or so years ago called Able2. So that was just recently went through a recap and a new partnership with another big company. And so we've been thinking about the trends that have just been supercharged by COVID. And so if anything, we're just kind of more focused and excited and ready to go, as we just happened to close a new fund in March. We're ready to have a lot of new capital ready to go to work.
Great. So as you look forward to the next stage here, what do you think the challenges startups will face coming out of the pandemic and going into reopening? You deal with a lot of startups. What do you see your startup struggling with these days?
Yeah. So in many ways, COVID has helped accelerate the adoption of some technologies. For others, again, that were stuck in the fee-for-service business model or related to that business model, we've seen sales cycles stretch out and lengthen, and kind of the adoption curve slow down because so much has been put on hold as both payers and provider systems try to figure out where volumes will shake out once we either come up with the vaccine or medications that can help us contain and manage more COVID cases. And so I think for many companies, we've just suggested that they, to the best of their ability, manage cash tighter if possible. As they raise capital, think about raising for and planning for a longer period of time between rounds. And so we're encouraging our companies to fill their capital needs either with new lines of debt and or expanding rounds. If they, for example, if they thought a 10 million Series B round made sense, we may encourage them to expand that, to 12 to 15, whatever the case may be. But I think it's more of it's an exciting time and with lots of opportunity, but things in some cases may move a little slower than they did before COVID. In other cases, it's the opposite.
And so if you had to pick one application area to pursue for maybe a new startup, where would you point them to go? What would you ask them to do?
It's a great question. So I think there definitely is a lot of opportunity in facilitating better communication between individuals and the whole system at large. Because I think what we've discovered, or just what's been reinforced more now than ever, is that as all of us haven't really been able to go into our providers' offices and have good check-ins and comprehensive reviews, we've realized that so much of care is delivered, and the value of care that's delivered happens between those big appointments. And so I think thinking through all of the tools and services and et cetera that can help fill in the gaps between doctors' visits, I think that's a big area of improvement. So again, could be facilitating delivering medications to the home in a novel way, could be sending different types of service providers to the home, or focusing on an interesting area that benefits everybody, like palliative care and end-of-life care, where so much value can be created, where if done appropriately, palliative care is better, provides more satisfaction and comfort and even longer life for the individual that's near their end of life, helps the family quite a bit, and helps providers as well, because many providers aren't really trained in how to deliver palliative care. And so it's helpful to have some specialist advice there. And then it just so happens to be, with all of that value, it also happens to be lower cost for the overall system. So it's a place, one of the few places where everybody truly wins, where it's really better for everybody. And so I think there's plenty of opportunity to continue to innovate and improve around palliative care. So I'd encourage more entrepreneurs to look at that segment as well.
Well, great. Well, in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Oh, wow. There's probably too much to go into, because again, healthcare, it's probably never been a better time than now to be an entrepreneur in the healthcare industry. So maybe we'll save it for the next time around, but appreciate the chance to catch up.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for joining us today, and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you for joining us today. As always, be sure to leave a review, subscribe to this podcast, and share it with others. Let's go start up something today. Halti Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for the basis of investment decisions.